Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Nawrocki.
And I'm David Pitts.
David was the producer on this show, and I was the director. And this is the Sumo of the Opera. So, not this is actually
This is actually the intro. Yeah,
the intro to Sumo of the Opera. Yeah. Which is this Steve Holfish? Is this the new? Is the
this
first
is,
use of the new
this
open?
This is the new one.
And did we have the new open?
It was on Snoodle as well.
It was on Snoodle. Okay. So, well, this was an exciting show to do because this was the second show we did with our animation house up in Canada, and they did a great job on the animation on this too. So we're excited about Sumo of the Opera.
They actually made this show in probably less time than any previous full veggie.
That's true.
From start to finish, from starting production today,
right.
Not counting pre-production,
right,
to finish,
right, and it's about a half an hour of 3D animation, and then or maybe a little bit more, and then we did the St. Patrick piece here, so so it's a 45-minute plus show done in a few months, which is pretty
very short period of time.
Pretty amazing. I think the previous record was. Let's see, Dave and the Giant Pickle, which I think we turned around in 4 months. But, certainly this is much better quality than Show 5. So
we also shattered a record for the most animators working on a show.
That's true. There's a ton, and that's probably why we were able to turn it around so fast, because there were so many animators that worked on this show. So. It was breakneck speed. I don't know if I ever want to do a show that fast again. I feel bad at times because we push Mike so hard on approval. There's so much animation coming through so fast. That, yeah.
Mike had to look through so much stuff, but he did a marvelous job.
Oh, thanks. And it was all written approvals too. We wanted to make sure everything was on paper, or at least on email. So my fingers were getting a workout.
Work to the bone.
Yep.
Paid off though. Show about perseverance.
That's right. It's a show about perseverance. So we usually live the shows that we make. So
still trying to figure that one out, how that works. It certainly does.
Something always in the back of our minds as we're writing, I think. But
now Lutfi's a new character.
Yeah, Lutfi's a new character. This is really cool. I love Khalil the caterpillar, and we've tossed around that idea of doing a little sock puppet for a while, and I thought Lutfi would be the perfect sock puppet character to do. And this is shortly when I wrote this intro. It was shortly after a Christmas where my wife and I got our daughter one of these little puppet sets, and she would actually give us little finger puppet shows in the basement, and it was just so funny. So I thought, I want a little finger puppet set, and it had to be teensy weensy because those finger puppets are teensy weensy,
a little small,
and nothing could be funnier than a teensy weensy cucumber. So this is Khalil, which originally we had planned to reveal at the end of the show, popping up, to kind of show his face, but for various reasons, we didn't do that.
He's looking at me. It's for obvious reasons.
They were budgetary. Khalil is kind of heavy on the model side.
We'll bring Khalil out later.
Yeah, Khalil will come back. This setup, actually this countertop setup, was based on a real-life experience of mine. I've got some friends at World Vision in Chicago. They run the Chicago Storehouse. And they had asked if I could come down one day near Christmas and at a toy giveaway, toy drive, and help out. And so I did, and I actually didn't have a problem getting there. I found it right away, and it was great. I mean, it was really a good thing to be a part of, and it really touched me. It was really a special time, and so it worked in really well to this story. It's like what if Larry was doing the same sort of thing,
right.
Something that he knew God would want him to do in helping these kids, but he couldn't find it. So it's the struggle with him persevering to do that. So that's kind of where that came from.
Well, I think this whole show worked out just wonderfully in terms of, its theme and how, every piece of it fits so nicely in the keeping on and persevering from the countertop through each segment.
And even St. Patrick, which isn't a, really an implicit story about perseverance, there's still elements of it in there. And
absolutely.
So, yeah, and it really meant a lot to us, too, because, just of what we've been going through, a lot of changes in the last, a year and a half or so. It really feels like, you know, we've had to persevere, and you know, and it's really been therapeutic.
Yeah, it's you know, one of the later in the show, in the sumo segment, you know, there's a song that talks about, you know, fighting for what's right and not quitting until you're done.
Right.
That really still almost chokes me up because of what we've kind of been through and how we lived this show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now this is the base for this idea going up is actually came from a Laurel and Hardy short where they, you know, attempt to take a piano up a big flight of stairs and everything goes wrong, which is actually, I was reading, it's the first and only Academy Award they ever got for a short. Which is kind of interesting. But what we did here was, this is what if the Three Stooges were doing something similar, trying to take something up a hill. And you know, we didn't end it in you know, sort of classic slapstick fashion where it doesn't really resolve. They sort of as bumbling at the beginning as they were at the end. Right. So it actually has a nicer resolution and a you know, nicer point to it. But it's sort of Three Stooges meets Laurel and Hardy meets Saturday Night Live for the hearing impaired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I remember on this show when as we continue to develop it, you know, through the storyboarding and then even through animation, and even starting to see the footage, we'd always know how beautiful it looked and how fun it looked.
Yeah.
But we still kept like hoping this is going to work out. This really is going to be good. But when we got the music and the sound effects,
it all started to come together.
It really turned out nicely.
And we even played around with the idea of just having it music only. And even for a while there at the beginning, and in fact, I think we're going to include on the DVD the original unrestored version of this,
yes.
And the original black and white. But we were thinking about doing it, you know, in the video itself, doing it black and white, no sound effects, just sort of old time, you know, music over the top. But you know, we decided to do a full-blown version. So we do have we have a score and sound effects to just sort of give, you know, all the objects a presence in the scene. But then we'll on our unrestored version, we'll make it more true to a silent film.
So make sure you check out the unrestored version.
That's right.
We think you'll like it.
And the way this thing is put together is really interesting too, because this is a mix of 3D and 2D. There's a lot of 2D flats in the background. And the way that they're positioned, you know, we've just wanted to do that and try to fool the viewer into thinking it's all happening in a 3D world. So the surfaces that they're interacting with the staircase and the piano and, you know, the character themselves are all built in 3D. But a lot of the hills, you know, trees, those are just cutouts of trees. Those aren't full 3D model trees. The clouds, all that sort of stuff, those are just flats. There's Abraham Larry.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And here we go again, down the stairs.
That's right.
This is great.
That truck right there is actually the same truck they came in, just remodeled and recolored. So efficient use of 3D. It's a little bit different. The back half
is somewhat different, but same basic elements.
Yep.
Oh, he's straining now.
Yep. You know, one of the other things I really like about this too, and you know, you wouldn't have been able to tell this if it were in the black and white version, but I love the simplicity of the colors. I mean, the color palette is pretty stark, but with all the white, I think the colors really pop off of it. You know, we have this limestone background, and the color of the characters really pop nice off of it.
I always, you know, we have a piano at home, so I always watch this and think, man, destroying this poor piano. The sound effects guy, when he was making the sound effects, he went over to his girlfriend's house.
Oh, right.
Picked up the piano in the house and dropped it once to record the sounds. And he wanted it was so good he wanted to do it again, but they wouldn't let him.
She wouldn't let him.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. Poor Larry.
Yeah.
Or actually, this was confusing too, because when I was making notes, usually what I'll do when I make animation notes is I'll call the characters by whatever character name they are in the story. Well, since this is a Three Stooges story, that's Larry right there, you know, the equivalent of Larry and Moe at the bottom, and Curly is actually up on the top. So I was giving directions calling Larry Curly, and Jim or Jerry Larry. I'm confused already. I confused myself again.
and Moe was who?
Yeah, Moe was Moe. You know, that was not any confusion at all. But I would love to do more, you know, bring this trio back and do more homages to Three Stooges. I really love the Three Stooges.
I think we can. I think this one plays out really well.
And then what would a mansion be without Madame Blueberry?
That's right.
And it's fun too with Kurt's playing the score here. Must go. The piano is up. Yeah, just Kurt reflecting, their statements in the music. I think it works really well.
Really did.
My hero. Yeah, we wanted to make sure for our fans who can't read that we insert some P's there to read the actual letter.
P's reading the card.
So. The boss has returned.
You're in trouble now.
And they are found wanting. Except for Larry. They don't know what to make with a little lipstick mark on his cheek. So, and this is the equivalent of a raise for a job well done.
Right.
Getting to sit in the front seat with the boss.
And they're still sitting in the back.
That's right. So.
So much fun.
You guys gonna start that story? That was a silent movie. But powerful! How's he supposed to know what happened? He's on the phone!
It was a lot easier animating Larry on the countertop this time around. Him actually not being there.
Yeah, that was really easy.
The phone is a really effective way to get that across. It's real easy. All you got to do is put a little, mid-rangey filter on there.
Right, and you got it.
And you're all set. We could do a whole show like that. Just the characters will just phone it in.
Phone it in. That would be, man, just white. You can just have it on a white background.
That's right. Okay, now this silly song, it all started with this. I was sat down to write a silly song, and this hook came to me. Weather, whether you like it or not. Weather is cold, warm, and hot. And I had no idea where I was going with it. And then in the end, it turned out into a grammar lesson. So, as I was saying that last sentence, I don't think it was grammatically correct, however.
That's probably true. I keep thinking, VeggieTales now goes into several different languages and gets translated.
Right.
And I'm still thinking about this and wondering how this song will ever translate and what they're going to do in another language.
This will be like the Dance of the Cucumber in Spanish, which is like the freakiest thing you've ever seen because they translate Larry singing in Spanish and Bob is translating in Spanish, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't quite happen.
It does not work. Yeah, I'm sure there are languages. You could find homophones as well.
Right.
You have to fit it in there.
It'll take some work.
Yeah, it'll take some work. We'll have to pray for those whose job it is to do a translation that still works.
Larry gets carried away with the...
Oh, I have to say too that this version of Larry with the hair and the glasses is based off of my friend Hans. Hans, yeah, who's actually a music teacher. But this looks a lot like Hans, although Hans has cooler glasses than that. But we couldn't put Hans's glasses on Larry; it just didn't fit his eyes. But Hans is a teacher, and he's like the perfect icon of a teacher in my mind. So I thought that would work really well for Larry. And I believe Joe Spatterford was one that brought that all to life.
Yeah, it certainly is fun.
And it's nice too because here we go, the big joke. Interjection? Ever.
There you go.
It was a grammar joke.
We wonder,
there's grammar teachers laughing
there'll
hysterically
be a few people
right now.
get that. And the others will have to be taught it.
But
so if you got that,
oh yeah,
now
if you got that,
you get to show other people.
Okay, here we're bringing in Brian Roberts. Brian, say hi to the gang.
Hey, gang.
Now, the reason we're bringing in Brian Roberts is Brian single-handedly animated...
I drew that.
Oh, you drew that too? Oh,
yeah.
That's very nice. Brian single-handedly animated the whole flannel graph section, and he did a very good job. And with help from other guys in the Viz Deb department.
Right, we kind of as a group worked together, working with Todd Carter, who did most of the storyboards and the character designs. And then Jojo and Chuck all pitched in by...
Jojo and Chuck, that's our monkey.
Joe, and Chuck, period. Those guys helped design all the characters and create all the actual artwork that we used. And then I kind of had to bring all of that stuff together with the soundtrack and it was what ended up being like over 7 minutes of animation, which usually when an animator gets a section of a show, you know, they got like 20 seconds that they have to do, and then they go off and do something else.
Right.
So it's really unusual to have the opportunity to actually get to do a whole big, huge 7-minute chunk of animation and have it all kind of rest on your shoulders. So it was really kind of intimidating at
nervous
first.
were you?
I was very nervous. Actually, I think that even caused like a mental block at the beginning. So there's Maywin. He's really cute when he's a baby.
The whole concept is that
Right here, you can see his neck. If you go and rewind when he kicks the cradle off,
Oh, yeah?
Maywin's neck actually sticks to the ground.
Cool. I noticed his shoes are different colors.
Yeah, you know, that was a side effect of kind of the process where I was doing testing, and we had a shot where his shoes were overlapping. Oh, and
There, he's missing
yeah,
part
his
of his
missing
toe.
part of his toe. Yeah. So his feet were overlapping, and so I wanted to create a distinction between them, and so I colored one a little different color. The
Right.
one on the back was a little lighter.
Gotcha.
And then I just never changed it for the rest because this was on a really tight schedule. You know, normally an animator tries to do like 5 seconds a day or something like that, and I got to the point where I was doing 40 and 45 seconds of animation a day for this production.
Part of what was exciting for me about this is that this is the first time we've done, this much of a departure on our animation style.
Right.
Within a VeggieTales show, I mean, and the concept for this is that it's all, everybody that's gone to Sunday school knows what a flannel graph is. And, we're teaching a lesson in church history here on
I love
a
that
flannel
shot.
graph.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if other kids relate to this, but I certainly remember, the Sunday school teachers coming in and plopping, Joseph and Mary up as just little purple and red cutouts from a piece of felt, and I always thought that was really hokey as a kid. But,
Well, and then one of the things that,
this is Stonehenge here, if you didn't get that joke.
paganism.
That was the first shot I animated. That was actually a test shot that we actually ended up just using in the show.
Yeah.
Because I kind of, when you're doing animation, you don't have to start at the beginning and finish at the end, so we kind of started in the middle.
Yeah.
So it was a good place.
But
This is Phil doing the voice of the master,
Yes.
which is very funny.
But,
And of course, Mike is the voice of Maywin.
Yeah, I was going to say too. Just the concept behind this too was that, a lot of kids learn Sunday school lessons out of the Bible. Obviously in flannel graph and in Sunday school.
But they don't learn church history.
Yeah, they don't learn
lessons.
church history. I mean, and I knew that was true for myself, and I've recently been doing a lot of reading on church history, and I just thought, it'd be a really good opportunity for us to, for us to address that.
Yeah.
So, and in fact,
And it's a really fun way to do it. This actually, Mike wrote this script for this whole 7-minute section, and he brought it in one day and just read it to us, our little studio group, and man, he had us on the floor laughing because it was so funny. And a lot of times the show starts out and the script, the script is okay, and then you add the character designs, it gets a little funnier. You add the animation, and by the time you get to the end, you've ended up with something really entertaining. But this just started out so funny. The Star Trek gag is my favorite.
Aim the pigs.
Even the pigs.
Well, thanks. Yeah, the I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say?
Oh, sorry.
I
You're talking about
remember.
church history.
Yeah. I still forget what I was going to say. But no, I mean, it was just really kind of a, just a cool thing to do something different. Even on a topic. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. St. Patrick was actually considered the first missionary in the sense of taking, the gospel outside of the Roman Empire, which was considered to be, the civilized world. So,
Notice the ship is called the SS Minnow.
SS Minnow,
You
right.
didn't notice that before. Sorry, I keep
obviously,
cutting you off.
oh, it's just okay.
You're making some grand point about...
That's right. Well, Paul, for instance, went on his missionary journeys, all within the Roman Empire, but St. Patrick was the first one to take that outside, take the gospel outside of the Roman Empire. Interesting.
I like that shot. It turned out really well.
Yeah.
Everybody laughs when this ship kind of flips upside down. I don't know why that's so funny, but it is. And you notice...
We cut a gag in here. You remember
we
the gag?
did, yeah. There was a Jerry Lewis gag that we would pan over to the right, and there was Jerry Lewis saying, "Hey, lady!" and two little French guys that Joe Spataford designed laughing, and it just... We just had to make the whole thing tighter because it was getting kind of long.
Yeah, it got kind of long.
But you'll notice that each different country has its own kind of color style. Chuck Volmer did that because he's our color genius. So, like, Ireland is very green, England is a lot of red and blue, and then France is just a lot of blue. So each country has its own kind of distinctive color look, which I think is a neat thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful designs, the background designs, which Chuck and Joe did, and kind of based off of what Todd had done, were beautiful. obviously he's eating ham now, which is really funny.
Yeah. It was fun too with the whole Irish accent thing, because most of us have a good Scottish in us, but it was really fun trying to get a hold on Irish.
Right.
And I remember one day we brought in some Irish movies on DVD and just tried to practice.
Like Waking Ned Divine.
Yeah, Waking Ned Divine.
We just sat around going, making Irish noises.
That's right.
This is Tim Hodge doing the voice of the Irish peasant. And we had a guy, Greg Whalen, come in and do like the captain and I think one of the sailors, and he was really great.
Yeah, I think the captain though, skewed more Scottish. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, but just it was funny because trying to get it's a mix of English, Scottish, and Irish accents that we threw in there. So, but and it's really hard to do that all back to back, to go jump off from a Scottish to an Irish. You kind of have to get stuck in one or the other.
Right. Scottish is easy because you've got the old Mike Myers, if it's not Scottish thing from Saturday Night Live, or it is, he don't know. But there's not, so you can sort of do a caricature of a caricature, which is always easier.
Right.
Like when people would do George Bush imitations, they weren't imitating George Bush, they were imitating. I love this shot as we pull out. Now this is interesting, where all these people standing around St. Patrick are actually our studio. So on the right is Andy. That's me in the blue. Andy's a PA.
Small fryer.
That's Tim Hodge, the little guy who just came in. Joseph Pulich is the big guy. Chuck is the blonde. That's Mike in the back with the black hair, and Joe Sapulich. I'm sorry, Joe Spataford. Is he actually did all these characters, so he drew himself really buff. He drew all the rest of us like really skinny, really fat, but he's like He-Man down there, which is great. But what was I saying?
Wait, this was really interesting to me, because that ding ding ding, it was completely unintentional, but it's actually, if you think about it, it's Holy Holy Holy, which is a Trinity song.
Holy, holy.
Yeah, that little ding ding ding. It's very cool.
That was inadvertent. The sound effects guy just did that, not really knowing what he was doing, and we all went, "Hey, there's a connection."
That's right. Threw away their twigs.
So we're back on Ireland. I was saying something before. I don't remember what it was, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
Now, what I loved, because I was working on this with just a temp track where we'd kind of cut some things together, and then Kurt Heineke, while I'm animating, he's writing the music, and so we didn't see it all come together until the very end, and I actually got really teary the first time that I saw it all together, because Kurt's music is just so gorgeous, and especially here, he really hit the emotional chord that we were looking for, and Kurt's an amazingly talented asset for us. He just tell him to go do it, and he produces some gorgeous, incredible orchestral score with like no budget and no orchestra.
Yeah, it was cool too, because we did we did a rough track with just regular, Irish, tin whistle, and Kurt went back in and filled it all out.
He actually played it himself.
Right.
Lutfi's happy. So there we go. That's how we made St. Patrick. Sort of.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks, Brian. Great job. David Pitts is going to join us again. Hello, David.
Well, hi.
All right. Sumo of the Opera. This is really cool. If you watch the original Rocky movie, it starts off with actually a pullback from a picture of Jesus. So we just actually played off that, off that shot as we're going into this, because it's really it's Mikado meets Rocky with a little Karate Kid mixed in, and some other references. So it's a really kind of a fun combination of different shows.
And this is a very long shot too.
It is.
Very complex shot.
Yep.
This was great to produce.
The nice thing about this too, since it was, we were using a lot of the Mikado, which is, the original, Gilbert and Sullivan musical, which, the music for this, we just rewrote the lyrics. But we wanted to try to do it as a stage play, so the way we set up all of the sets in here would be as if they were stage flats. And we even have one scene where, we have a flying set, revealing a set behind. So, in effect, just building this as if we were building a stage production of, the Mikado. So I just really think it's a fun approach.
Yeah, I think it turned out really nice, too, that you're able to do that. In fact, the scene where we change it later really has a nice feel to it.
Yeah, and it actually simplifies things a great deal, too, because you're not dealing with, full 3D sets. You've got, flats that look as good as any 3D set, because the amount, the painting and the detail that that you know, Joe and Chuck and, you know, Joe Spadaford, Joseph Pulich, Michael Spooner, you know, and Chuck did just really looks nice. When I was in college, we used to go haiku bowling.
Okay, this sounds
which
good.
is you'd have to write a haiku before you could bowl your next frame.
Okay.
So, and there wasn't any like points associated with it or anything. It's just, you know, you just have fun writing haikus
Right.
as you go along. And a lot of them, you know, tended to be about bowling for some reason. I don't know what it was, but it, you know, it wasn't limited to bowling.
Just had your
But,
mind in the alley.
It was a good exercise though. Haiku bowling.
Haiku bowling. Man.
Greg did a great job in his celebrity voice impersonation here.
Right.
But
You never heard how that got started?
story goes he was raised by an onion family known as the Scallions. You know, we lovingly referred to Jimmy Gord's character there as our David Pitts,
Yeah.
our David Pitts caricature. But he's actually supposed to be a character of you know, another sportscasting Jim, but his hairdo looks a lot like David's at some point.
Yeah.
Not after you get your haircut, you know, when you let it grow a little
shape,
bit.
probably too.
It's mostly the hair. And there we go. There's Mikey.
Any recycling today? Hey, help yourself.
We're coming up on some real fun here.
Yep. Whoop. Whoop. See, I should probably stop watching and start talking. at
Yeah,
some
see,
point.
that's the problem. That's what's great about this show is we've watched it now, you know, dozens of times, hundreds of times, and you know, it still captivates. I still sit here and I just go, man, this is really good. This is fun.
The colors are so pretty.
That's right.
Oh, there's a haiku right there, kids.
There we go.
What are you doing, Scallion? You're supposed to help Poe train, not give him a sprain.
His little sumo wrap is looking a little latexy there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of rubbery.
A joking sumo eye, a lot of quips.
A Wandering Minstrel Eye was the original Mikado song that this is taken from. Worked really well for his song here.
It did, and the chicken sound effect was not bad.
That's right. Yeah, give credit to Justin for that too. Nice chicken. When this shot was first animated, the bottom part of his nose, you know, that you see below his his face mask was actually inflating too, and it looked really, really weird.
Like his nose blew up.
That's right. It looked really painful.
All
This is
right.
our first ever whoopee cushion joke.
That's right.
So we hope nobody takes offense at this. We thought it was kind of funny. So, and actually, the sound effect for that was me actually doing that noise into a little Macintosh laptop microphone. And then when that went into Final Sound Effects, Justin was actually putting a more realistic whoopee cushion sound effect in there, and it just sounded, you know,
too much.
Too much, yeah.
It was just too much.
We wanted to make sure it was silly and not offensive.
Right.
So
we're already sorry, moms and dads, if this creates trouble for
we
you.
apologize in advance.
You want a list?
Oh, poor Poe.
That line was actually done in the booth by Greg Whalen. He just sort of said that line, just sort of ad lib, and we loved it. And
Cracked
wanted
us
to throw
all
it in.
up.
Yep,
Championship and the prize.
So it makes it into the show.
that's right. Here's the tiger bike.
Tiger bike.
You know, it's fun. When I was in high school, I was a swimmer, and a few of us on the swim team. This was just right around the time Rocky III came out,
Right.
and it's the whole, you know, I have the tiger, I have the tiger.
Right.
And before our swim meets, we'd always, you know, it got to the point of ridiculousness because we'd always say, okay, come on, I have the tiger, I have the tiger, you know, before we swam.
Right, exactly. You psych each other up.
That's right. So I always loved that, and wanted to bring that back for for our little show here, except for just playing off this whole tiger bike thing. It was just a really fun thing. One of those pieces floating. I just noticed that.
Did you guys keep score for haiku bowling related to the haikus?
No, we didn't. We should have, though. There should be some scoring thing there. You know, like you can substitute. Like if you get if you miss your strike or your spare, and you get a really good haiku, you should actually get the spare at least. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking Apollo Gord here just isn't going to score much.
No. He only gets to about 2 syllables away. And this sumo chorus, actually, a few words about the sumo chorus. There's actually 4 of us singing in here, and we're doubled. It's Phil Vischer, Brian Roberts, Kurt Heineke, and myself. That's Brian. He's the only tenor among us singing right now.
The one that has some pretty good talent singing.
The one who can actually sing.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
Although I must say, I made a rather good bass on this day.
You did.
The day we recorded this, I had a terrible cold, but I had a killer bass voice that I've never had before and probably will never have again.
Right.
I just hit this bass resonance that was surprising to me.
So as guilty as I felt once we'd started on that, knowing you were feeling badly, we have to record it all.
That's right.
We can't stop because we'll never repeat it.
That's right. Whenever I'm going to sing real low bass.
Oh, it was low. It was impressive.
There's always a first time.
So you can kind of tell as I'm talking as Larry there, I kind of have a cold feel to it.
Right.
Which is real similar to the very first Larry Boy that I recorded with remnants of a cold, too. Yeah. I don't know if most people can tell, but I can tell that I had a cold that day.
So
but
Larry,
the show must go on.
Yeah, so when Larry plays very heroic characters, you have to have a cold.
I have to have
first.
a cold, right. Makes me more scratchy.
I like the fans too, Mike. I mean, a lot of people are talking about that as they see it. This transition that you've got going between shots
with the fans,
it's really cool.
That's really fun. Yeah. It's it makes things a lot easier too. Because originally that last transition was supposed to be a full body wipe transition as Larry passed in front of the camera. As he passed, and back at him was the next scene. But it turned out that he was wiping to himself, which is a filmatic no-no.
Yeah, it kind of looked a little odd.
Yeah.
The fans just worked great.
Yeah, the fans covered that up real nicely.
Now, I'm not sure we're really advocating in this show overeating, but it seems like we are.
Well, if you're going to be a sumo,
you gotta
be big.
You gotta be big.
Remember that, kids, if you're going to be a sumo. It's funny because as we were making this too, my son was just learning to walk, and I was just having really fun with the whole sumo thing. So it was really fun to kind of play with his mind by teaching him to walk like a sumo. I said, "Michael, sumo," and he'd do it. It was so funny. I don't think we got any of it on tape. It'd be fun to put that as a DVD extra.
I love this when this lady bonks him with his cane.
Oh, and if you notice, there's a couple people standing in front of that, but that was the Mikado Mall. Just wanted to give full tribute to Gilbert and Sullivan. And this obviously kind of parallels the beef warehouse from Rocky, just the slabs of meat hanging down.
We didn't really want to have that in this.
No, it would have been good. It's more of a vegetarian show.
Yes, that's right.
I want to advocate, recycling rather than, meat eating.
Right.
To fight Scallion is a pushover. I could beat him in my sleep.
Hear that bass right there?
That's Mike.
I couldn't do that right now. I'm not going to even try. I like the little guy. He's always a little bit behind.
Doesn't quite have his act together, but we've all been there.
Now, this is the first time I think we've ever animated sit-ups. We did a Larry Boy album where Larry did the Superhero Slim Down.
Right.
And but that was an audio project. So this is the first time I think any vegetable has done sit-ups.
Mr. Juicy.
It's a good thing it was a cucumber. I'd love to see a grape.
Yeah, you got to be able to bend.
Be a little harder for Paul there to do a sit-up, I think.
right.
It'd be more like a roll-up.
Yeah, just little side to side.
Fruit
Fruit roll-up.
I wanted to say fruit roll-up, but
It works.
it's probably trademarked.
That you?
Yep, Alexander the Grape.
Photo by Danny LaRusso.
Yes,
Seems like a guy that would take a picture of a grape.
of a grape.
Look, Scally.
No knee?
Sometimes there's a good
What's that?
reason for stopping.
The knee joke.
Oh yeah, Noni. That's right. Noni. Actually, that's my mom's nickname. Noni.
Oh, really?
Noni.
That-
Nona is her name.
Noni.
Friends call her Noni.
Most things worth
But anyways.
Now, I love Paul's cap here.
Oh yeah. Well, see,
The appropriate
it was
name of is...
Toque.
Toque.
Yes, we learned working with our Canadian animator friends.
I don't got what it
So it's a
They
nice
know
little.
how to make a toque.
That's right.
It's the only thing I'm any good at. I'm no good at training or wrestling or finishing. I'm only good at making with the jokes.
I love the kung fu feel score here. Kurt did just a great job with the music in here, just giving it a nice Japanese Asian feel.
He really did, and he didn't have he didn't have as much time as he normally would.
There's that set flyaway we were talking about. Yeah, he did it really quick.
Did it fast, but he did us. Yeah, I agree. He did such a marvelous job. It's really good.
I love the color palette here, which Joe Spataford and Chuck Vollmer developed. It's just really, really cool. Those are just painted flats, on a ground, and the shadow color as well. I think it just all the colors just work really well in here.
Was it hard?
Yeah, but then I figured if you
And I
could
love
stick
that
to
headpiece.
That's really nice. But I was
like a
thinking
rubber
afterwards,
glove.
he had to spend time making a rubber glove.
That's right.
Either
exactly.
he's really, really good, or
That's a tough school project. Mom, would you buy me a rubber glove?
Maybe he actually molded it and poured it himself.
Could be. Could be. I don't think so.
This is a fun song. Lisa Vischer actually wrote the words for the song, and then Kurt and I then worked on it musically to try to come up with something that would sound like it would fit into the Mikado. So this song is actually the only song in here that didn't come from the Mikado. This was our own creation here, but fits in that style.
Yeah, I think it turned out really good. This one, it still chokes me up sometimes. I'm pretty sentimental. It's really good.
Silly songs do that to me sometimes
Do
too.
they? Do they? Silly
Yeah,
songs?
yeah.
Ring with Apollo.
That's Tim Hodge. Tim Hodges. Yeah.
So, what do you want to tell me about your training?
Now we're ready to go.
Get back
That's right.
to it. I've got to keep my eye
Okay.
on the tiger.
Number 2 training montage. This is when he gets serious. Back to the Mikado Mall. Taking on the old lady again.
Gonna get fired this time.
That's right.
Wow. And he really can do sit-ups. Look at that.
This was a really fun montage to work on. Just figuring it out with temp score, and then just filling it out, and developing this along with the story artists. Tim Hodge and Todd Carter, and even Brian Roberts helped.
If
them a lot
anybody
with words.
doesn't figure out what happened to that bag, you want to explain it to them?
What bag was that?
The bag that just blew up.
Oh, the bag that just blew up? Oh, yes, a bag full of dusty cans. Is that what you mean?
Well, I've wondered at times, if everybody understands what happens there, when we cut the way we cut to the bag.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's the whole belly bump, vibration thing. Yeah, so that's what we were trying to.
So if you
relay
wondered
there.
why the bag exploded, kids.
Right. Exactly, which played itself, when Apollo did the belly bump. A belly bump is associated with rapid vibration and falling over. But when a recycle bag vibrates, it of course
It blows
explodes.
up.
Yeah. So,
Well, we have to blow something up. It's fun.
That's right.
In animation.
that mop is I believe if it's not the actual modeled mop, it's the same design of the mop that was in the hold of the ship in Jonah.
There we
So
go.
it was a Joe Sapulich special mop.
He jumps over that guy.
And these backgrounds here, these are all, if you look back there, that's sort of a theatrical gradient background, so we're just playing with the theater thing again. And it's fun, too, now as we go to the big auditorium, this could have been really expensive in 3D, but what we have here is we have that theatrical gradient blue back there, and then just, these flats, kind of, painted impressionistic painting to look like a crowd and with some, flashes going off, and along with the sound effects and everything, it pulls off really nice.
Right. Well, it gives you the. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, and you could pull this all off on stage really easy too. I mean, this could be it's already designed for stage.
Yeah. Well, it really gives you the focus on the characters, and it just gives you a nice feel back there. And with the sound effects, made such a huge feeling space.
Right.
It really turned out cool.
Yeah, especially if you listen to it in 5.1. Okay, yeah, here comes the vibration again from the belly button.
And of course, our Gordley character is maniacal at times here with his ring announcing.
It would have been fun to actually had the time and animation to push him a little bit more, because I kind of felt like he could have just gone nuts. It would have been kind of funny if he just fell over backwards in his chair at one point. He's going so nuts. And if you don't read kanji, which I don't know if most of our fans will, some of them might, but those little banners in the background.
Do you read kanji?
I do not, no. But curiously, as a 4-year-old, I didn't read, but I spent the first 4 years of my life in Japan, and I could speak Japanese at 4 years old, as any 4-year-old could, but I forgot it now, so I don't remember any of it. But my dad was stationed there in the Air Force for the first 4 years of my life.
So I distracted you. You were going to say something?
Oh, yes, yeah. I was talking about the characters, yeah. They say, things like, God and love. Yeah, so there's, we just have those characters back there, so it's kind of fun to go through if you read that and pick out all those names, all those words.
This is such a cool shot.
Oh, yeah. I like the slow-mo. I don't know if we've ever done slow-mo before. That was...
I don't know either.
Been our first use of slow-mo. And if you recognize Apollo, he is Mr. Twisty from Jonah. And also...
we wanted to get the very biggest... What was our biggest vegetable possible?
That's right. Without it being Goliath. Because Goliath wouldn't have fit on the set.
Yeah,
he was too big.
Too big.
That's right. This is another Mikado song. Flowers in the Spring is the name of the song, which actually we kept the main hook on that. On the lyric. I had to make sure Apollo was a good sport about things.
Yeah. Nice roses.
And that's the actual design of a sumo ring. If you mix together a boxing ring and a sumo ring, that's what you'd get.
We added the ropes.
Yeah.
A little license there.
Yep. Sumo meets boxing meets WWF.
You won the tiger bike? Well, no, but they gave me the bell. And finishing is its own
I like his little silk robe. That's nice.
Yeah.
I want a tiger bell.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because one of the animators during the production process actually had ridden his bike into work, and it looked almost exactly like a tiger bike. And this was well after the fact. It wasn't orange or anything, but just the. Oh no, it was orange. That was the thing.
Kind of an orange
it wasn't
color.
shaped like a tiger, but it was orange color. But just with a couple of modifications, it could have been a tiger bike. So, and the end.
The end.
Well, Larry, what'd you think? Are you ready to persevere?
I remember we were a little bit concerned about this initially in script phase, wondering how Larry could have watched the story, gone to the toy drive, and made it back in this amount of time.
Right. Well, there's a little time distortion going
That's
on,
right.
here and there.
Yeah, but I don't notice it now. I think it's okay.
Well, what about the kids? I don't know how much of the story you heard, but it was...
I pretty much heard the whole thing. Ran out of quarters right
Oh, and also another interesting fact, all these little bus routes and subway routes that Larry mentions, those are actual bus routes in the city of Chicago. So you can, if you go to a CTA map, the Chicago Transit Authority, you can trace those bus routes around. And if you do that, that wasn't actually, those bus routes weren't where I went to, to the thing. Those were just bus routes I was familiar with.
But you could actually retrace Larry's steps.
That's right, you could retrace his steps. But you might get lost too.
That's right.
Like their little Japanese "What Have We Learned" song.
Bob's starting to like this music.
That's right. After the last show.
You okay?
Poor QWERTY. I think QWERTY's due for an upgrade.
Yeah, we may have to do something about that.
Listen, you killed QWERTY. Oh no, I
It's one of my favorite lines.
just made them
Sputter and smoke, and that is a difference.
Well, we're gonna have to get him repaired, and we need a verse now.
QWERTY's just a computer, so
That's right.
But he's a great big helper who knows his scripture memory verses.
Memory verses?
Oh yes.
yeah, that computer is a little old.
That's
You
right.
don't see many with a floppy drive there with a little
No,
button anymore.
you know, I believe that's an IBM 386.
That's what that's about.
Yep, which, you know, wouldn't even give you internet access, I don't think.
No, we have to do something about this.
You're one smart teensy-weensy cucumber.
You see, Larry, God wants us to persevere, to keep on keeping on,
Even when it's hard, right, Bob?
especially then. That's when we need to decide to be a
Yep,
finisher.
as little Lutfi walks on.
Trying to do something
We were a little
God
concerned
wants
that Lutfi wouldn't read in this, you know, because as we build up the animation, we're looking at really rough models, rough set, rough lighting, and Lutfi wasn't very present at all
He's so small.
because he's so small. But I think, you know, with the wonders of DVD, he holds up pretty well in there, even as a little teensy weensy guy.
So, what are we doing for our next
Okay, so right in here, as Bob and Larry diss Lutfi,
Right.
we were actually going to pop Khalil up to give him away, but decided not to do it.
Fellows.
But and actually, I don't think we're any worse for it. I think it worked out really well.
Good.
And these are some of the kanji characters underneath. John Trent down in our design group actually, you know, did the credit design here, which he did a great job on. He used some of those same kanji characters, you know, God and love, you know, to you know, put behind as a graphic treatment, which is pretty cool. And here comes our really long credit list because so many people worked on this show.
Really.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Yep.
26 animators actually worked on the show.
Wow.
19 was the previous.
Was a previous
Previous
record.
high watermark.
And that was with Easter, right?
That was with, that was with
With
Easter.
Yep.
Easter
yep.
Carol.
So, yep. There's Gail. Hey, Gail. Gail's great. She's very, very great in development. She's on our development team. Trusty concept artists. Joel Maines, he's been editing with us a couple years now. Does a really, really good job. His father actually is Chapel of the Air. You remember Chapel of the Air?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's Joel Maines' dad.
I did.
And it's funny because I had a brush with him even before I even when I just got into video post-production. I was working at a post house that used to, used to tape Chapel of the Air there, and I was on the crew that helped grip the shoot.
Cool.
And then years later I ran into him again. It's really funny.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, Joel is really, he's edited several shows for us now, and he's really doing a remarkable job.
Yep. And then these are our friends from Canada coming in here.
Okay,
The
that's
pie.
Josiah abbreviation there. I always have to wonder about that.
Oh yeah, that's how you pronounce that? Okay.
I always have people ask, is that misspelled? Is it? No, that's correct. Josiah Fuller.
Yeah, I think this is a longer show than, for a typical VeggieTales, this is a longer show because we've done, longer versions like Esther was long, Christmas and Easter were both longer shows, but they were single stories. This show is nice just because it's a longer show and has a lot of variety in it, which hopefully we'll be able to continue.
Yeah, with the main segment and 3 other segments.
That's right. Got to bring back the sumo chorus sometime too.
That's right.
We got the fairy chorus coming up in Princess and the Pie Wars.
Yes, indeed. Indeed we do.
Which that's going to be real fun.
That is so much fun. We got it recorded and
right.
edited together, and you have to see that.
Yep.
You have to hear that to believe it, actually.
Well, if you know the Stuff Mart chorus, then it's reminiscent of that.
Bunch of guys singing in falsetto voices.
There's nothing quite like it.
Nothing good for humor like that.
Now, the A-pop on this was really obvious. We had to use the hi-ya. So with that, hi-ya and goodbye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.